Right, here we are in VP4, and Killer has been added as a new game, and I am just going to do a test with myself at the moment. I'm actually using advanced settings in the game, but when you get to the main page to set the game up, this is basically what it looks like. You have one game. You can have a maximum of 6 players in the game, according to Steve. That can be increased. I did watch a video on YouTube. I mentioned that in the stream. I watched a video on YouTube, a real game of Killer, where there were 10 guys in it. And within that game, there was also the feature that they had where they actually had handicapping. So, for example, you start the game with 3 lives. And the video I watched, some of the lower rated players that what you would describe as probably novice players, they were given like 4 lives, and the other good players were given 3 lives. But for the purposes of EP4 at the moment, you start with 3 lives. If we go into the rest of the stuff is pretty elementary, whether you have a shot clock or anything like that, there's nothing different there. And there's also the wager feature, which is actually something that'd be quite good, because if you had 6 players in the game, and let's say you have a wager of $50, at the end of the game, the last man standing is going to win the pot, which is quite a good idea, which makes it interesting to actually get involved in the game, so you can win a few $. If we go to advanced settings, I've changed the advanced settings. I've actually given the player 4 lives to start with, rather than the default 3. And if you look at the 8-ball option, the version of the game I watched on the YouTube video had this feature, had this advantage. If you read the bit at the bottom there, it says, what happens when a player makes the 8-ball can be nothing, or the player earns a life, or the player earns a life if not at 100% life. So if you pot the 8-ball, you get an extra life, which is a little bonus for you. And it might encourage players to take on a more difficult 8-ball and risk it. So I've got that one because I like that as a feature. And then if you look at the reset feature, it says, if the last player alive misses the final ball, there is a re-rack and the game continues. So I've got that on. That is defaulted to off, and I've got it on. The other features are the same as playing a normal game. You can have coin flip, lag balls, although I don't know how the lag balls work. So obviously there's only ever one player at the table, so I'm not sure how that will work. Whether everybody has to lag, I haven't a clue if that decides the order of who's going to actually shoot next. I don't know. I'd need to ask Steve that. Jump queues, the default is on that one. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave it at default for the coin flip. 3 fills in a row is a loss on, off, or default for the game. So 3 fills is off by default, and call shot is also slop is in this game, which is actually quite fun as well, because you get people who miss a ball by a mile and then it goes in and everybody else gets annoyed. So anyway, that is the settings that I've got it at. So I'm just going to be playing myself. So there's 2 players in the game. We'll break the balls. Now, we did have a bug last night when we tested this for the first time. No doubt Steve will be looking to fix that. That video is on my YouTube channel if you want to have a look at it. Right, so the thing I like about Killer is that you can get nasty given the opportunity. You're trying to get your fellow players to lose their lives. So what you're not trying to do is you're not trying to pot a ball and get on the next ball, because you're not trying to run the table. What you're trying to do is tie the cue ball up, which I managed to do on a couple of occasions last night. I don't know that the other players that were playing were actually thinking too much about that, but that's one of the objects of the game, is to actually kill your opponents. So trying to just lock the cue ball up onto something. So now the second player is in, and I didn't manage to stick that onto the 8 ball. But the second player has a couple of shots, though. He's got the 14 ball. He's got the 7 ball. If I roll the 40, see, again, this is me thinking safety-wise. It would be good to actually roll that 14 ball in and try and stick the cue ball onto another ball, or in an awkward spot. See, now I've lost a life. I've hung it. Now, the default setting, I think I've got this table set to narrow pockets or tournament pockets. So it tells you the HUD at the top there, foul, player missed and loses a life. So if you look at the top left of the HUD, you'll see that 9ball.com at the top has, at the bottom, it has lost a life. The guy shooting, who is me again, is still on 4 lives. So I've got an easy pot to start to keep me in the game. And so the game continues. And don't forget the settings that I've got, you get a bonus life if you can get that 8 ball. So the fact that my other alter ego has just dropped to life, it would be handy if he could get that 8 ball. You're just trying to leave the cue ball awkward for your opponent. You know, I've left another pot on. Obviously, as the balls thin out, it gives you more opportunity to put the cue ball in an awkward spot for your following player. So now, my alter ego with 3 lives has a pot in the 1 ball into the side. And so we continue. I'm looking to see whether I can do something dirty here, but not really, because these balls are actually too well spread. The interesting thing happens when you've got balls that are tied up, and it's a lot easier to leave your opponent, virtually nothing, maybe a bank or something. Right, so let's see if I can pot the 10. I mean, my problem is potting balls, so if I can pot the 10 and just leave the cue ball up there and see whether that's going to cause a little bit of a problem. Now, you see what I've done there. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's a great shot, because my opponent's coming to the table and he's looking at virtually nothing. I mean, there's a dodgy cut into the left side pocket in the 15. There's another dodgy pot on the 5 up into the top right. And then there's an even dodgier cut up the rail on this 13 ball. So this is the point I'm making about killer. This is how you should be playing it. You should be trying to leave the cue ball awkward so that you're forcing your opponent into digging out a great shot to not lose a life, or to get them into a problem like this where they're really forced to dig out a pot to actually keep their lives. So I'm in trouble here. I'm already down to 3 lives, and I've got a dodgy pot in the 5 that I'm probably going to take on, and I need to watch the cue ball as well, because of course if you scratch you lose a life also. I haven't a clue whether this is going to go in. I have no idea. It's looking good though. And it goes. Well, so I've survived there. I've got out of that hole. And nothing much I could do with the cue ball. I've left him an easy pot for him to continue. So that's the easy pot. But the more difficult pot would be the one that would maybe leave my opponent in difficulty. So I'm going to play a cut in the 15. Again, I might probably just lose a life because of it. And I'm trying to just drop the cue ball onto the short rail near that 13. Or preferably on it like that, near enough. See, this now, that's another great shot in terms of forcing the opponent to play a more dodgier 12 ball cut. Because he's got no, I mean, this into the side pocket isn't easy. Steve might say it's easy, but that ain't easy to try and visualize that cut into the side. So now my alter ego, still on 3 lives, has another pressure shot to preserve his life. And in fact, I'll tell you something, I can't even get to the 12. You know that? I cannot get to the 12. Yeah, I think let's have a look. Well, I'm going to have to spin this up a bit, I think. No, miles away, and I'm going to scratch anyway because of it. So there we go. We're down to 2 lives. We're under pressure. Now my opponent has got ball in hand in the kitchen, which you haven't. Now I wonder whether you can play a ball in the kitchen and kill it, because I've never, I haven't worked that out yet, but I'm about to find out. Probably not, I would imagine. We'll soon see. Yeah, it's legal. You can play a ball in the kitchen. So there's something else I found out. So now, poor little old me, version number 2, is only on 2 lives now. I'm going to take on the challenge of the 8 ball because that's going to give me an extra life. Right, so look at the HUD on the left-hand side at the top. You'll see I'll go up to 3. And the HUD on the right says new life, player awarded a new life. So there we go. We've given ourselves an extra life. We're still in the game. And now, alter ego number 1, myself, is looking to maybe, right, that 7 doesn't go. So if I drop the 3 ball in, and I wonder, well, it's the only shot I can play, but if I wonder if I can just leave it right on that top rail. Let's have a look and see what I've got. Now, obviously, depending on the level of the players in the game, if you've got somebody who, isn't a great potter, something like this 6 ball isn't a gimme for them. But that's the one that I've been left. I'm still on 3 lives, so a bit of pressure on to get this. But the other thing I'm going to do is, you've got to think ahead. You've got to think about the player following you. And if you're going to play dirty, like I like to do, then what you should be doing is probably following this cue ball right up the table and trying to nail it onto the top rail. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, I'm not going to get there, though. I'm not going to get there. I'm well short. See, if that was on this bottom rail, this would be a lot more difficult. So my player on 4 lives comes to the table, and again, he's thinking about bringing this cue ball right back up the table. Let's have a look at that. 12. Trying to get it up right into the kitchen and as close to this rail as possible, just to make things difficult. Now, obviously here, I've got a dodgy thin cut in the 7, or I've got a dodgy cut on the 9, or a bank on the 9. So again, remember, this is the version of me that's only in 3 lives. So I think I don't think I'm going to run into the 7, at least it's maybe touch and go whether I am or not. So if I cut the 9, I'm trying to get the cue ball away from that 7 ball. That's too hard because I'm going to come around the corner and give him a cut. Well, it's going to be stuck to the rail, so this is a chance maybe where he's going to lose a life. Quick look at the cut. That's overcut, I think. Oh, no, it isn't. Right, so now we have the re-rack and the game continues. And no ball. And of course, with no ball in the break, that's the other thing I just forgot about. Because you broke dry, you lose a life. So I'm down to 2 now. And look at where the 8 ball is, so that's not going to help me any. Okay, if that was out on the table, I would have probably had a go at it. But in fact, where my opponent is stuck, he's got a little bit of a testy cut in the 10. Right, so now I'm back at the table, fighting for my life. Play the 3. And I've overcut that by a mile. I've been doing that a lot lately. So now I'm down to 1 life. This game might not last long. I've gone too far. I didn't want to come down to the 2. I wanted to sort of get down by the bunch. Right, so now my 1 life is on a knife edge. Right, how's that finish? See, that's left nothing easy. So I've still got 4 lives in this profile. I've got a cut into the middle on the 4 ball. I can even cut the 7 into the middle, or I've got the 9 ball up table. So in goes the 9 ball. Cue ball's gone right into the spot that makes it difficult. So this game could be over right now, because look at what I've got. I've got a dodgy cut in the 7. I've got 1 life. The 8 ball's not going to help me. Wait a minute, is that a combo? Oh, hang on a minute. That 4 ball looks as if it's maybe going to catch the jaw. Right, in desperate times, and the 8 ball's not touching the 4, so I'm going to get crazy here. I'm going to play the 11 onto the 8, and I've missed it, and game over. Anyway, that just lets you have an idea of what the game is like as far as now. In fact, I wonder what did I say the advanced settings were? Let's find out. So I'm down to, my other profile's down to 0. This one I've got in 4. In goes the 8. I think you just have to pot that ball to win. Plus, the fact I've got an extra life with it anyway if I needed it. Right, so the game is over. All I had to do was pot a ball to win. So that's just, again, I've never played Killer in real life. Although I did have, there's a pool game that I do have that I can't remember the name of, but it has Killer in it as well. But that's Killer in VP4. And remember those advanced settings, because I think that you should use these advanced settings. I think, 3 or 4 lives to start with. Pot the 8 ball, you get the bonus of an extra life. That sort of thing. So try it out. Anything up to 6 players, get them in the game. Even try a little wager, and the winner wins the pot. Have fun. We'll see you soon.